So what we're
Ready.
going to do now is we're going to go through our mid-season rankings for our wide receivers. Wide receivers are always fun. We love wide receivers. Hey, Shed, do my theme music. We're going to talk about our top 10 wide receivers going the rest of the way. At the beginning of the season, every mock draft was Justin Jefferson 1, Jamar Chase 2, Tyreek Hill 3, Cooper Kupp 4. But here we go. At this point of the season, top 10 receivers, number 1, and I'm going to name all 10, then we're going to go back and we're going to discuss a little bit. Number 1, the 4 Wide Fantasy Football Pod, we have Tyreek Hill at number 1. Pretty simple. Number 2, predictable as well, A.J. Brown. Here's where it starts to get a little different. Number 3, Stephon Diggs. Number 4, Jamar Chase. Number 5, the 4 Wide Fantasy Football Podcast, we have Mr. Sedarius Lamb, CD Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, all reliable, old faithful, Keenan Allen. 7, we have Jay Jettas. Number 8, the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We all love hearing his name. I feel like with a name like that, he should have opened a law firm. And then number 9, Devontae Adams, the man who seems to be productive year in and year out. And number 10, his 2,000 yards every single season, Mike Evans. That is our top 10. Rounded out. Let's go back. Let's talk about it. At number 1, guys, we all had Tyreek Hill at number 1. The man said, I'm going to get 2,000 yards. He only showed that he was human in his last game against Kansas City. But is there anything to say about that? Tyreek Hill is balling right now.
No.
Yeah, he's number 1, unquestioned.
And at number 2, we all had A.J. Brown at number 2. The man was getting 125 yards 6 games in a row, maybe 7. I can't remember if that streak is actually still going on, to be honest with you guys. But A.J. Brown has been balling this year. The Eagles offense, I just want to go on record and say I still think that they have the best duo in the league of wide receivers. Mark my words. Okay. Do you guys have anything you want to say about that one? AJ, we all had him at number 2, so there is no discrepancy there.
Yeah, no.
No, he's their most reliable offensive player by far. They're going to keep feeding him. So I think he'll keep up this. He won't keep up averaging 125 a game, but he'll be close to that. Oh, I think he could average over 100 a game yards for the rest of the year, sprinkling some touchdowns. Yeah, I like number 2 for him.
Now at number 3, we as a collective have Stephon Diggs, the Haitian sensation. You guys, all 3 of you had him at number 3. I had him at number 6. Okay. Now, I believe the guy's incredible. I mean, everyone fell in love with him with the Minnesota Miracle. And I'm convinced that artist, what's her name? Lizzo, new man on the Minnesota Vikings. I'm convinced she was talking about Stephon Diggs at that point in time. But the reason why I had him at number 6, ultimately, I like the other guys I had above him better. But Buffalo just seems a little dysfunctional to me right now. I'll be honest with you. And I mean, Diggs is the guy who's going to get targets, and Josh Allen can throw the rock. But it's just tough for me with the trajectory that they're going to see him match the production he has had his last few years in Buffalo. But you guys had him at number 3. Does anyone want to speak to that?
I'll speak to that. I think so. The thing with yes, they are disarray for sure, Buffalo. But with the thing with Stephon is Stephon can have 3 catches for 120 yards easy. So he's just like Mike Evans. All he needs is 1 or 2 or 3 catches, and that could equal like a lot of yardage. And he's gonna at least get at least 1 touchdown somewhere or there. So, and that's the big thing about X receivers who are deep threats. Yeah, you could like one reception equals 60 yards. So that's why
he's exceptional after the catch, and I think that's where, he could do it. He and Diggs has a capacity. He could blow up. Let's go to number 4. Okay, at number 4, we have Jamar Chase. Now, Shed, you had him at 4. Olu, you had him at 5. Will had him at 4. I also had him at 4. So we're all pretty much around the same area with him. But Olu had him the lowest, not that much lower than everybody else. But Olu, you had him at 5.
Yeah.
Why didn't you put him at 4?
Just because he's not the same. I mean, again, he's a number 5. He's not number 1. He's not number 2, and number 3 is. I feel like it's Diggs because in terms of Diggs is. Mm, it's really interchangeable between Diggs and Jamar, and also in place of Jamar, I have JJ. JJ is coming back. Okay,
Well,
from
we'll get to that. We'll get to him in a sec.
no, but
But
I'm just telling you who I had where you guys have
right,
Jamar. So if
right.
JJ was playing all along, he would easily be number 1 or number 2, easy. So just because he's coming back and given the pedigree of the kind of player he is, I cannot put him anywhere lower than 4. So in that case, Jamar Chase has to go to 5.
Yeah, I had Chase at 4, and it felt weird putting him at 4, especially since at the beginning of the season he was like number 1 or number 2. Most people had Jefferson at 1 and Chase at 2, and I just think the Bengals are starting to come alive. I think Jamar Chase is going to start to go crazy again. Let's not forget the man is capable of putting up 100 yards and a touchdown every game, as long as he's healthy. But at number 5, we had CeeDee Lamb. Now, I'll speak to this for a second. I had CeeDee Lamb at number 3. CeeDee Lamb was my number 3 after Tyreek and A.J. Brown. And mind you, I cannot stand the Cowboys. I never want to give the Cowboys any credit. And I believe if you're a football fan, you either love the Cowboys because you're a Cowboys fan, or you can't stand the Cowboys. And
Yeah.
so I'm a Giants fan, so I can't stand the Cowboys. But I had CeeDee Lamb all the way at number 3. We collectively have him at number 5. And I think the way in which they're utilizing him right now, it is amazing. Dak Prescott is looking his way. Dak Prescott is on fire right now. I hate admitting that, but the man has thrown like 4 touchdowns the guy's throwing touchdowns all over. And CeeDee Lamb is feasting. That offense is looking good. And so I had him up high. I had him at 3. Olu, you had him all the way down at 8. And Will, you had him at 7. Maybe one of you guys wants to speak to why you had him much lower than where we have him.
Here, let me jump in on that real quick because if I were to redo these rankings right now on the spot, or I'll just say after week 10, I actually would put CeeDee Lamb at number 3 above Stephon Diggs because the last 3 weeks, 14 targets, 12 receptions for 158, 16 targets, 11 receptions for 191, and then 14 targets, 11 for 151, and he scored 3 touchdowns the last 3 weeks. He's been the number 1 receiver the last 3 weeks. He's obviously not going to keep up that pace. No one can keep up that pace, but I see him as a top 3 the rest of this year. If I had to redo it right now, I say that with confidence.
That's what I'm talking about. The man is getting the targets. He's getting the yards. We know he has the ball skills. I don't think what we're seeing is some fluke. Like, can he keep up 170 yards, 160 yards a game?
No, not that.
And man, if Dallas can put up points. CeeDee Lamb is balling, man. CeeDee Lamb is balling.
I mean, Adam low because yes, he's balling right now. But knowing what we know about the Dallas Cowboy, they tend to have a spot or a moment in the season where they're phenomenal. And without fail, they always regress back to the mean or lower. So, and that's why I don't trust it yet. So,
Yeah.
yes, that was a phenomenal year or game, but that's expected of Dallas Cowboys. That happens every year.
And you would think if teams haven't started doing it, you would think they would start to double CD because Pollard can't run the ball, right? They can stop Pollard, so you can take the safety, put him on top of CD, force Brandon Cooks to beat you, and that would kind of limit his production. So you would think that, and CD's interesting, right? Because we kind of have him all over the place, 3, 5, 7, 8. He's all over the place. I have him at 5, where he's supposed to be at, because I see the connect.
Confident.
But he has a benefit. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, because I see the connection and I see him being at 5, but like a Tyreek, AJ Brown, done, Jamar Chase, done, right? I mean, those guys are Diggs. I'm a big fan of Diggs too, so I feel like CD is right where he needs to be in that.
CD, I also have him high. He has a very favorable schedule. The rest of the way he plays Carolina, Washington, Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, Washington again. I think the man has a favorable enough schedule to ball out. I think we'll see. We'll see though. We'll see. 5's still high. At number 6, we have probably everyone's favorite receiver in the league, Keenan Allen, the man who produces and the man who has a good attitude, as far as we know. But we all have Keenan collectively. We have him at 6. Shed, you had him at 6. Olu, you had him at 6. Will had him at 5, and I had him at 8. I had him lower than everybody. Now, mind you, I do want to say as a disclaimer, I really like Keenan Allen. But there's somebody else I had above him. A couple guys I had above him that we haven't even gotten to yet, who I like better. But Keenan Allen's very steady, man, and Justin Herbert is looking his way. Kellen Moore offense is hey, they might not win games all the time, but they can put up points any day of the week.
Absolutely.
We've said it before. Herbert may not be elite, but the man will put up points. And so,
right.
Keenan Allen's steady, man. PPR, he's a PPR machine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, he just produces every year, and he's another guy that doesn't get love. He gets more love than Cortland Sutton, to go back to our earlier point, but he doesn't get the recognition. He just flat out produces every week, every year. So, yeah, I think this is a fair ranking for him. Absolutely.
Is it crazy to think Keenan Allen is a borderline Hall of Famer?
Yes.
No,
crazy.
It's not crazy to think that. No, I think he is a Hall of Famer because he could finish with the 1,000 receptions, 10,000 yards. And that, if you hit that benchmark, you're in the Hall of Fame. And he's in play for that.
Keenan Allen, I think he is a fantasy football Hall of Famer. But when we talk about Hall of Fame and we think, what did he do as far as a Hall of Fame resume? Individual statistics, okay, yeah, but was he ever even an All-Pro?
So the only
I don't know. That's a good
say
question.
yes, but my only apprehension is if you have guys like Brandon Marshall, you have Ocho,
Right.
they're in the Hall of Fame. You
Andre
have
Johnson, Steve Smith, yes, Anquan Bolden,
Reggie Wayne.
Yeah,
so if they're not in the Hall of Fame, sorry, Keenan Allen's not going.
Yeah, Sterling Sharp. Like these guys.
Yeah, the log is back.
Keenan Allen, again, I love him. I like him a lot. He's never led the league in receptions. He's never led the league in yards. He's never been a big touchdown maker. This season could be the most he's ever scored, the most touchdowns he's ever scored because he's on a great pace at this point.
Just the log is backed up. What about Mike Evans? Hall of Fame, yes or no? Quick.
Yes, Mike Evans, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, what Mike Evans has been historic. Let's keep it moving. At number 7, we have Justin Jefferson. Now, doesn't that sound weird, guys?
Yes, I don't know why you
Number 7 the rest of the way is Justin Jefferson.
You said the least is from now moving forward.
Right.
Jefferson's I don't know why he would have been number 2.
But you guys realize that we have him all over the place. We all have him, but he's all over the place on our ranking.
Shed has him at number 10.
Where he belongs.
Yeah, Olu has him at 4. Shed has him at 10. Will has him at 6, and I have him at 7. So we do all have him. But I mean, if the man comes back this week, which this week when we're recording this would be him playing week 11, which essentially would give him what, guys? Help me with the math. 7 more games?
7 games, yep.
Yeah.
7 games.
Yeah, because they haven't had did they have a bye already, the Vikings? Because it's 8 more games. There's actually 8 more games or 8 more weeks, right? 11 to 18. But I don't know if the Vikings had their bye yet. For me, the only question with him is if he's going to be healthy, because hamstrings, they just linger. Even when you come back, the risk of re-injury is high. That's why I had him lower. That's why I didn't have him as number 2 or number 3, is just the risk of it lingering on even after he initially comes back. Or
Vikings have not had their bye yet. They haven't had their bye yet.
So 7 games. If he comes back now, he has 7 games.
Yeah, week 13s are by.
Okay.
The reason why I had him at number 10 and he barely made my top 10 because, well, two reasons. Okay, I was looking at his stats. I mean, the guy produces. Number one, he produced really high with Kirk Cousins. I don't know how his chemistry is going to be with Dobbs there, right? I mean, Dobbs might be going to other players or something like that, right? So I don't know how the chemistry. So I'm going to assume that's going to fall off a little bit. Plus, he's like wide receiver like 33 right now. So he has to make a huge jump in order to get in like 5 or 6 or 7. So that's why I have him.
Yeah, but we're not accounting for what happened in the first half. We're just saying from this point going forward.
And I think I'm still questioning Dobbs, their connection as well. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, I mean, I had him at 7 because I'm thinking a man as talented as him, he's good, man. He's good. But I mean, 7's fair. 7's fair, right? He's coming off a hamstring injury. Team still has to buy. But at number 8, we had Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god. Okay, I believe of all of us, I had him the highest. I had him at 5. And this is why, for me, Keenan Allen was a little bit lower because I like Amon-Ra better. I think, gosh, that Detroit offense is good, man. That Detroit offense is so good. And he is, without a doubt, the number one option in that passing game. And they are looking his way. I would go as far as to say they run their passing offense through Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
And the man is putting up numbers. They line him up all over the place. Out of the slot. Dare I say, I think I even saw him come out of the backfield once. Like, they're scheming him open. And so I think Detroit can I think they're trying to make a playoff push. And yeah, and I like Amon-Ra. I have him rated very highly. I think the man's going to get targeted 10 to 15 times a game.
Yep.
Easy.
Safe to say that.
Yep.
Easy. Yeah, none of their other receivers are a threat. Jamison Williams is not it. I mean, he's
not a
not
fantasy
showing us
player, yeah.
anything right now. Laporta will get some of those targets, Gibbs, but yeah, I'm on rise. He's the engine for sure.
Olu, you had him the lowest of all of us. You had him at 9. I had him the highest at 5. You had him at 9. Why do you have him so low?
I have him on a fantasy team, and he's okay. For some reason, they've not been connecting him. He gets yardage for sure, but they've not been connecting so much on the on touchdowns. And also with Jared Goff, he spreads the ball a lot. So in 1 week, a no-name person might go off. The next week, just random people goes off in that offense. So or another one, you have Jameson Williams, yeah. And it's an unpredictable offense, which makes them good. So that's why it's not like Chargers that rely solely on Keenan Allen. They spread the ball around. So that's why.
But Amon-Ra has only gone under 100 yards twice this season. Every other game, he's gone over 100 yards.
All I know is I have him on fantasy, and he's not killing it like
because
he's not killing it.
Because you're not in a PPR league. That's why he's not killing it for you.
That's got to be it. Yep.
His last 3 out of 4 games, he's averaged 28 points or more.
Right. In what format, though? In what format?
Well, PPR.
He's
the only one that matters.
Yeah, format does matter here, guys.
Now, like I said, he's definitely the top 10. Don't get me wrong. Top 10. But again, within that 10, where does he fall? That's just the question.
Here's where it gets interesting at number 9. So those top 8 guys, Hill, Brown, Diggs, Chase, Lamb, Allen, Jefferson, and Amon-Ra, all 4 of us had those 8 guys. There was little discrepancies. But here we go. Number 9 and 10, we get into a range where not even all of us even rank these guys.
Yeah.
Davante Adams and Mike Evans tied.
What? I was the only one with Mike Evans. Why is that? That's criminal.
Well,
because we're leaving out Cooper Kupp.
Yes,
I had Cooper Kupp in my list. That's why. For me, I didn't rank Mike Evans because I had Cooper Kupp and Garrett Wilson. But you had Mike. So why don't we speak first to Davante Adams? Okay, Shed, you had Davante Adams as well as Will. Me and Olu did not. Okay. Why doesn't one of you speak to why he ought to be in our top 10? And then maybe me or Olu can speak why he should not be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Go for it, Shed.
Yeah, I'll go. Well, because I mean, that whole offense has changed. That whole team has changed. The dynamics have changed. They're gonna feed their stars and their players. Antonio Pierce is gonna make sure Devontae Adams gets the ball, and things are going to change moving forward. I mean, the guy is just too talented. He's been producing year in and year out. I mean, he's gonna be a top 10 wide receiver moving forward.
So I beg to differ. I think Devontae Adams is talented. I think he's exceptional. He's a great football player. But one thing I've seen with defensive-minded coaches is they want to run the ball. That's
Yeah,
what they want
yeah.
to do.
Josh Jacobs.
And Devontae Adams, the last 2 weeks since Antonio Pierce has taken over, first week with Antonio Pierce as coach, 4 catches, 34 yards. Second week, 6 catches, 86 yards. No touchdowns in either of those games. Shed, I think you're only saying that because you think Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers are supposed to be the best duo in the league. So I'm calling your bluff with that one. I think Devontae Adams is a fine football player. He's very good. But I just don't see the Raiders with Aiden O'Connell making Devontae Adams a top 10 receiver. That's my take on Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, okay, skill set wise, absolutely, no question. He's top 3, but he doesn't have anybody to get him the ball. He can't throw the ball to himself. So that's my reason.
Let's move. Last one. We have Mike Evans. And Olu, you're the only one who ranked Mike Evans.
Yeah, because
but you ranked him so high that he's in our top 10. Now, Olu, I'm going to say this.
Skewed the averages.
It really did skew the average a little bit, but we were all so heavily involved with the top 8 that the other guys after that really didn't get much love. But you had him at 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Olu, speak to us. Why should he be number 7? Now, we collectively obviously had him at, tied for 9th, but you had him in there.
Yes. It's Mike Evans. Like, do I need to say more? Like Mike Evans, he's easily like top 10 receiver easily. And fantasy wise, look at this week alone. He had Shed knows because it's a Shed's team. He had 146 yards with 1 touchdown. Come on, guys, what are we talking about? He's the one player on that team that has a really good rapport with Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield, he's a gunslinger, throws the ball up, and that's what Mike Evans loves. He gets the ball. One reception, Mike Evans is 70 yards, easy. And also he's a red zone beast. Like he can get touchdowns anytime. So that's why I don't understand why he's not on your top 10 fantasy. And we're talking fantasy. This is not even subjective. This is all in data. He's top 10 easily.
Well, let me give you the data real quick though. So far through 9 games, because they already had their bye week, Mike Evans has 3 top 10 finishes, but then he has 5 finishes outside the top 20. Yep. So 5 finishes outside the top 20 at the position, meaning wide receiver 21 or worse, and only 3 finishes inside the top 10. So he's not been consistent this year. He's either going to be top 10 one week or he's going to be outside the top 20. So for him to finish inside the top 10 the rest of the way, things will have to change based on what we've seen so far.
Okay. So right now, Mike Evans has 737 yards.
Yes. He's wide receiver 12 overall.
And then 6 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill has the 6 touchdowns. That's above average. So that's a top 10 number. Like that's top 10, guys. I don't know what to.
Yeah, Evans, I want to ask you a question. Were you a big Evans fan before Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay?
Yes, absolutely.
I need receipts. I need proof of this.
For the record, Olu's a big Tom Brady fan, as you probably have found out by now. And traditionally, whenever anyone plays with Tom Brady, Olu says he's a Hall of Famer.
Before Brady got there, I've always thought Mike Evans was criminally underrated. Like even I remember K Adams for Good Morning Football. She's a huge Mike Evans fan. So every year she used to always say Mike Evans underrated. And I was like, you know what? Let me look at this Mike Evans she's talking about. This is way before Brady. And I started watching him, and I was like, yo, this is just true. Like this guy just does his job. Like touchdowns, outruns everybody. He's an ultimate X receiver we have in the league.
He's
So
good.
so that's why I just feel like he's always incredibly underrated. You guys
So
really
initially, I did have him in my top 10, but then I thought, wait a minute, Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp. So I was like, I got to put Cooper Kupp in there, and I like the targets Garrett Wilson's getting. There was other guys that I thought of. I liked Michael Pittman Jr. I like
Yes.
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yes.
I had him at one point. I was like, I like
over
Michael
Mike
Pittman.
Evans. Over Mike Evans.
Yes.
Michael Pittman's getting the targets.
More
Over Mike
targets than Evans.
Yes.
He's getting the targets. That's why. And you got to chase volume. And so, like, pound for pound, Mike Evans is a better football player. But I think fantasy-wise, I also considered Olave. Of course, Olu wants Tank Dell in the top 10. So there's lots of discrepancy there, but we know the top 8. We all feel great about the top 8. So when we get down to Adams and Evans, that there's a little differentiation, but ultimately you can't go wrong with these guys. Evans is going to ball. He'll get over 1,000.
You for 2023, you're really going to compare Devontae, Mike Evans. Come on, guys.
Let's go to our say. We got to keep it moving. We've got to keep it moving. We have our top 10. Like I said, not much discrepancy, but enough for us to have some good banter.
Yes.
What we're going to do, guys, is we got to keep it moving.